But now, the best-selling author of Artificial Intelligence, a travel guide for the executive. He's Speaker of the Year this year. He might speak whole year also. Country Manager of Finland. And he has lived in six countries and worked in the headquarters of Google. So, put your hands together. Please welcome Antti Merilehto.
Thank you so much. I won't let you take the clicker. I won't. I want my clicker. I need my clicker.
Sorry.
No worries. Hey, good to be here. Warm welcome from my behalf also. It is said that the thing that sets us apart as humans is the ability to tell stories. And I don't know about you, but immediately when this event started and we saw the Matrix-like numbers going on, I remembered the Matrix saga. And then it also changed the beginning of this speech. Because if you ever attended those conferences where you have, they're very often American speakers, their stories start, this morning when I was walking, and it's never that morning. It's a story. However, this morning, I had a talk on AI, especially natural language processing. And when I left the Kuuma cafeteria, there was, of course, a road work, so I had to cross the street. And there was a bookstore, a used bookstore, that had The Lustikas Korulipasto, funny poems for children, on the window. And especially if you're on the live stream, it has Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall. So for Finnish speakers, Tyris Tyller or Lilleri Lalleri. So this egg-shaped fellow, and as we know, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty happened to fall. All the king's horses and all of the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. And this is what I remembered immediately when I saw this. And luckily the person I was having the breakfast coffee is somewhat of a boheme, so their breakfast coffee started at 10:30, which meant the bookshop was already open. And I'm happy to say that my brother-in-law, their family is getting a kid in just before Christmas, so I went and bought this book. This is to say that what sets us apart from any other living organs is the ability to tell stories. If I look at us here, I would say we have very few people who don't recognize the falling numbers from Matrix, because it was a big thing. And the connotations that you have, maybe you went to see it with a special someone, or maybe it was during when you were studying. And when we are looking at how humans and machines work together, this is something that is really good to understand. My name is Antti Merilehto. I am your travel guide for the next hour. And when I saw the headline of this event today, Power Lunch, and knowing the hectic cycle of today's work life, I was thinking, hopefully it's not a power nap, no. At the same time, a good friend of mine, Joni Jaakkola, who gives a lot of lectures on well-being, often says that if someone is actually sleeping while you're giving your talk, they need it more than your talk. So if you feel like it, do it. You can watch this later on. Okay, excellent. Off we go. I am the country manager for Finland. I've been that for 3 years, but I had another hat for almost 2 years, and it was the hat of a hockey wife. So you're familiar with the phenomena. We have a hockey player, and they get it to play in NHL. They have a girlfriend who's blonde and from Porvoo, and this person goes with them and becomes the hockey wife. Well, obviously, I'm not from Porvoo, But I still went along when my wife became the coach for Team USA in synchronized skating, in muodostelmaluistelu. And we lived there in Boston for 2 years. We're both, I guess you could say, movie buffs. We go to movies a lot. And this is a typical soda machine at a US movie theater. Despite that every man and his dog wants to know about AI, I was able to squeeze one movie of the Helsinki International Film Festival this year. So I went to Tennispalatsi to see the movie, and I actually took a soda. And they had 5 different types of soda. I know that especially our neighbors to the east, in the planning society, Gostplan, people would say that in 5 sodas there's 4 too many, but that's not a discussion we want to have, because this is the Coca-Cola freestyle machine, and it has 150 types of different sodas. So, I mean, otherwise going to the movies is pretty much the same as anywhere. You buy the ticket either from the counter or from your application. You go there and you get your bucket of popcorn, and then you go and get your soda. And I know for many of us, it hurts to know, understand, and hear that on average, we're average. So most of us, when we're going to see the latest blockbuster, we take the Fanta full cup. I think the biggest cup in the US is now 2.1 liters. So, but it's a free refill. You won't be thirsty. Don't worry, no. But what happened was that the number is from last year's, I think, November. 14 million servings are being sold through those freestyle machines every day. And each and every one of those servings, the data goes to Coca-Cola Research and Development, R&D. And at one point, there was a group of people who mixed their own drink. They were not the early adopters who take 8 different types of drinks and taste it. Not good, I would say. Haven't tried. But these people, what they did, they took the cup and they put 2/3 of Sprite and 1/3 of cherry Coke, like Dr. Pepper, if you will. And so they created their own drink, a cherry Sprite. And there was enough of these people that it started to show in Coca-Cola's data. What they did, they figured, okay, it's very popular in this area, maybe we should try it. And if you ever worked in a multinational corporation that has consumer brands, you recognize this type of a person who is the brand guardian. Sprite, it's always crystal clear. Like, we will not put any mud water into our drinks. And someone said, hey, take it easy. They're already doing it themselves, and none of the mugs that we have, the cups that we have in movie theater, they're not transparent. It has the Coca-Cola logo side, so don't worry. Okay, so they went to experiment it. And what the experiment looked like was that they put it here behind the Coca-Cola, behind the Sprite button in the UI, and they used the international sign of a brand new product. It's a yellow star with black roundings, and it says brand new. And then people know it's new and they want to taste it. And they tried this on the area where it was popular already to start with, but they also tried it at an area in the United States that is representative of the soda consumption in the whole US. And this is the story how Cherry Sprite became to be in all of those machines around the United States. My question to you as a business decision maker is, what if you could bring products and services to the market that you already know that there is a demand of? Profitability, cash flow. Sounds good. And when Coca-Cola did this, they used a bit of artificial intelligence, but more was that they were actually doing decisions based on data. And I would say that it is the building block for utilizing AI. I want you to have your first takeaway at this point. If you make notes, make a note. The question is, how do I know if our organization is making decisions based on data? Do you have single source of truth? Single source of truth. So that in your management team meeting, let's say I'm head of sales, and I've spoken with my teams, and we have a quota of 110, and I know for a fact that we have done 120. So we're good. You're the one with the numbers. You bring from our SAP or wherever our numbers, you put sales numbers, and it's 97. And I go, what's going on? Hey, I know my numbers. What's going on? I know they're 120, and you're showing me 98. And at this point, all others start to do their email. It's Antti again with his sales numbers. My point is, clearly, because I know that our team made it, but our definition varies. Maybe it's that I don't have the VAT number in all of the customers. Maybe we haven't sent the first invoice, but it's not your problem. It's my problem and yours. So what we do, this is taken offline, and we figure this out so that our definition of X is the same, and that it's a categorical rule. When you come into management team meeting, you don't argue about the numbers. Whatever you bring are the numbers we're looking at. Of course, they are not, we have new systems coming on, they are not always totally correct. But the point is, when it's a management team meeting, those are the numbers. It is the single source of truth. That's the first test that you have if you're making decisions by data. My route to artificial intelligence wasn't the traditional one. I didn't go to technical university to study physics and get my PhD, long from it. But actually, it started by coincidence. It was the Slush startup seminar, and it is run by volunteers. And they had taken 3 great companies to the discussion on the business of AI. And they had someone who actually had a PhD on artificial intelligence to interview them. However, this person was working for a corporation. And when the corporation needed this person to travel to France to meet a customer, it was like, yeah, but I'm moderating this discussion in Slush, and you're going to France. So they didn't have a moderator. They called me. I said, sure. What are we talking about? AI. I said, I'm the perfect fit. I know nothing of AI. Most of us don't. So I'm able to ask questions that we know something more. And I had 2 weeks to prepare. And we had such a great bunch of people. That is Anita Schellbrede of Iris AI. Some of the companies, their mission statements, for me, are somewhat blurry. I don't understand. Iris AI mission statement is very clear. We want to read every scientific paper that is published. And there are 3,000 papers every day that are being published. And why they want to do this? They want to, that all the papers, all the science that is already made is usable for academia and companies, R&D. And all of us who have made any kind of scientific papers for the master's thesis, whatnot, you know the process. First, you figure out what's your question. Then you have feedback rounds with your professor. Then you have 2 months to write it. And, well, that was gone. You have 2 weeks more. Then you go clean all the places that you never clean in your house. And then you have something to show. And then it's ready. And in the old days, it went to the basement library, and no one read it. Then it went to the hard drive, and now it's in cloud. But the point is, the heavy lifting is already done. You have done the work. And I would say that the best definition that I have heard for artificial intelligence is from Professor Avi Goldfarb, who says that artificial intelligence is the lowering cost of estimation. We're able to estimate smaller business problems better, cheaper, so that we can make our decisions based on that information, those estimates. it also means that, because all of us, we're dealing with scarce resources. We can't do everything that we want. We can do most of the things that what we want, but we cannot do everything. So if we have better understanding what the world looks like in the very near future, if we're able to predict, we can do our decisions based on that. And this is exactly what Iris AI is giving the tools. I'll give you an example. Very traditional industry today, they'll get an idea, their R&D team. Okay, this is something we want to look at. It takes, with the old tools, 90 days, 3 months, to reach go-no-go decision. So let's invest or not. With Iris AI today, and as with this example, with all of the examples I have, this is true already today. This is not if Jupiter and Mercury are in the right position and if Business Finland gives them money, then this is going to happen. No, this is true today. From 90 days, 30 days. What would this mean to your go-to-market times? Cash flow, profitability. How much meaningful would these people find their job if they would reach decisions earlier on? Here is Sophie Quidenius. Her first company was recognizing fonts from books, digitizing book. So if you have a book in the library of Heidelberg in southern Germany and you want to read it, flying there is bad for the environment and it also takes a long time. But if it's digital, you can reach it. This was Project Gothenburg. And this is exactly what her previous company did. 2 cameras, 2 lights, robotic finger. But she said it was boring. It was, once you knew the font, it was all about efficiency. Faster, 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 more. But handwriting, it's fascinating. Like, if all of us now would write the numbers from 0 to 9 on a paper, and then we would spread it out, and it would go like 8, 1, 6, like what's going on? Just a couple of weeks before that, they just got their first round of funding. Of course, she had something to show from her previous company. One thing that they had found also, they work with neural networks, and I'm going to briefly go into what is a neural network. What they were able to do was, they were able to recognize the text very clearly, and they taught the computer, the neural network, with data. But they also asked the people who gave the samples, if you identify yourself as male, female, other, prefer not to say, and this was just added data. But at some point, they took the samples from those who identified themselves male or female, gave it to the machine, and asked the question, was this text written by a male or a female? And the prediction was, the error rate was 2, which means it was correct 98 times of 100, if it was a male or a female. The following statement is my opinion and does not represent the opinion of our company today. GDPR is the worst quality legislation that we have had in a long time. I'll tell you why. Because with what many of us speakers are waiting for is a European Union directive that at some point you can put your clicker here in the air and just tell your story with both of your hands. And the clicker stays there. And we've been hearing it's going to come next year, because it's as sane as GDPR. I'll give you an example. You're laughing, but I'll tell you an example. GDPR tells that every decision that the computer makes, you have to tell why it made the decision. This is a lawyer who's saying this. Let's ask from scientists. Sophie's team, how did you end up to the position that with 98% certainty you know if the text was by a male or a female? And they go, we don't know. But we know that lawyer is smarter than scientist, because lawyers say you have to know. All of your consumer loan companies are doing automated decision making. But there's a silver lining in the cloud. Always people ask, what's going to happen with the jobs? GDPR created a whole new class of jobs. And for those of you who were born at a certain age, at a certain time, you know Commodore 64, the computer. There was a game called Track and Field 2, and it had a 100-meter sprint. It's such a coincidence that this new job looks outside exactly like what playing Track and Field 2 was. I'll give you an example. The new job is, because we cannot make decisions solely made by computer. The new job is, we have a screen here, and the screen has a text. Do a decision just like the machine says. And the human does this. And it's done. The decision is done by a human. What I'm saying is, artificial intelligence, especially neural networks, they're really good. All of the AI that we have today is narrow AI, meaning it can do one thing really well. What we don't have is a broad AI that could see things and interpret and do many things, nor do we have bundles of narrow AI today. What comes in near future, I don't know, but today, all the AI that we have is narrow AI. And someone is saying, yes, but what about artificial superintelligence? When is it coming? Don't worry. Like, it might come, it might not, but it's not going to affect your business in the next 24 months. Let philosophers who are smoking, oh, interesting, superintelligence, yes, indeed. Leave it to them. Work what you have now. Work with your data. Okay, excellent. Let's move forward. That's Iman Jubawi. If they were pre-seed, they had seed funding, and they were already a company. That's Iman Jubawi. When we prepared for this discussion, and Sophie told that, yes, 12 years ago, when I founded my company, Iman interrupted, said, 12 years ago, I was 12. And at that point, I tell you this just to show how fast things are moving. And it is, I would say that when you look at the pace, I was actually yesterday in Otaniemi, where Google DeepMind researcher Yuval Tassa was giving a lecture, and he told us that for the specific thing that they're doing, he was showing articles, and he was showing that 2017, what they used was the articles, the algorithms that they were using were 10 times more faster what they have today. So in a year, it's not 10% more, it's 10 times faster than what they have. This is the speed that we're moving. Iman Jubawi's company is again, prediction. If I want to rent a car in the UK, I take a picture of my face, I take a picture of my driver's license, and they'll make an estimate if it's me. Then the rental company adds data, credit card data, Facebook, LinkedIn profile, whatever I'm willing to give. Maybe they'll give me a cheaper price if they're really certain that it's me. But this is a combination of how we collect data from different places. And I think the last round they got funding, they were valued at 30 million euros. So things are moving fast. But this was my starting point. When I'm sitting here in the podium, I have 2 weeks of deep dive into AI. And when I was traveling between Boston and Helsinki, there was not a direct flight at that point, so I spent a lot of time in the airline lounges. And there's always these people, they always have a Lenovo ThinkPad, and they always have the cybersecurity shade, and they go very efficient. And so that's great to see that people are doing their job in a really fast manner. I was never able to do that. So what I did, I read, let's say, Mashable, TechCrunch, MIT Tech Review, to understand where we're at. And 6 months from that point, I realized that the applications that were state-of-the-art at that point were already old-fashioned. There was something new. And the thought that came into my mind was, could I do something to help it? At the same time, I was looking at Europe. I was talking to management teams. I was looking at Europe, the GDPR, or the discussion that we had up on, and I realized that the speed of AI is actually happening in China and in the US. US traditionally has had the academia, the work-life balance, in a way, what Silicon Valley was made upon. You know, everybody was welcome. When you come to San Francisco, put some flowers in your hair, so on and so forth. And this was the thing that solved the really difficult problems. The final point, if you want to have just a bit of information, was Jeffrey Hinton with the neural networks that he came up with in 2010. That, in a way, opened the bottleneck so that it wasn't about the science anymore. It was about the applications. Welcome, China. I was born in 1978. My dad is from city of Pori, and in the summertime, when we went there, we went to the marketplace, and there was a lot of toys that had this little golden sticker said "Made in China," and you knew that it was synonymous with poor quality. And for many of us who have lived as kids at that time, there's a certain stigma of understanding where we are at, in a way that China is something that produces copycat products. What's true isn't true anymore. Even in the last, let's say, 10, 15 years, it is recognizable that they made products, services that were copies. Then they made little better versions of these copies until they made their own style products. And the reason why they're going there is that I'm going to give you two examples. The warrior mentality comes from that they had to fight hard to do. They're not respective to each other. Instagram says, well, Pinterest, you're doing such a nice job here on pinning those pictures. We won't come to your area. Not the case in China. Soon they would have Pinstagram or something else. It's ruthless. And 996. If you're familiar with the word hygge, it is the Chinese version of hygge. Come work for us. We have 996. What does it mean? From 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Because the option is 7-10-7. 7 a.m., 10 p.m., 7 days a week. Kai-Fu Lee, who actually wrote a really good book on our, especially US-China, in his book is called The AI Superpowers, it's out a couple of weeks ago, said that he would think that people who work for Google, if they went to work for one of these Chinese companies, they wouldn't last 2 months. The way people do things, it is fierce. But just to give you the picture, these are the places, science being made in the US, best applications, AI applications in the world are being made in China. Minister Lintilä is attending today, actually, a European Union level meeting in Espoo to discuss on artificial intelligence. And we sat in the same committee, and he asked, what are the messages that you would like for him to bring up in the meeting? And I said, absolutely, we were discussing on ethics of artificial intelligence. We have to understand where China is at. And it's not a quarterly report. It has to be a weekly report on what do we know, what is being told, what do we know. Because the speed is just enormous. What happened for me, even before realizing the US-China thing, because that happened last month. But after traveling a lot, after reading the news, what could I do? How could I help Finnish managers, directors, to grasp the idea of data, decision-making by data, machine learning, so on and so forth? And I had no clue, until one night we were driving from my mom's summer house, and my wife tends to sleep in the car. Like, she's from the northern Finland, so 4 minutes and she's out. I've listened to all the podcasts in the world now twice. But it was my first round to listen a podcast from Google I/O developer meeting. And they told an example of data center. Data center, the energy efficiency is really important because that is the biggest cost of running a data center. To give you a picture, the Google data center in Hamina, Summa, consumes the equal amount of electricity that all the houses in Espoo. So it's a lot. And what was done before, like let's say 3 years ago, we want to do an energy efficiency project here. We would take 6 people, machine learning, data center architects, put them for a month there. They would figure out, because they're all unique, and they would come up with 0.8%. And everybody would be like, wow, wow. They're the best in the world. It's a lot of money. It's a good thing. And now if you truly understand artificial intelligence, let me cut corners, but we had Google DeepMind team putting artificial intelligence in the data center. In 3 days, they were able to cut 15% of the energy consumption. 15, 1-5. Same week, I had a person who I know from a long time ago telling me, Antti, it is nice that you're interested in artificial intelligence, but you do understand it is just a great example of hype cycle literature. 15% of your biggest cost in 3 days, and you're talking about literature classics. Indeed. So we ended up discussing, the new record from Metallica or whatnot, but something nice, funny, small talk. And when I stopped the car, I said, honey, I think I need to write a book. I had never written a book, written a lot of other stuff too, but that was the starting point for Tekoäly matkaopas johtajalle, the travel guide to artificial intelligence for business decision makers, executives. The point is that I had no clue on AI, but I knew a lot of people from my time in Google, from my time in business. So I asked a lot of people, who can you introduce me to so that I can ask these questions? I was happy enough that I found, through Kalle Freese, the Y Combinator alumni, great companies in Silicon Valley, funded by Khosla Ventures, like creme de la creme companies that were willing to talk to me, people in these companies. And when I got to talk to them, everybody in Europe wanted to talk to me, so it was a great deal. It was just a lucky shot. And the point in this book, and I'm saying this with great empathy, is it is written in a such simple way that even a CEO can figure it out. And I'm not saying anything about their cognitive capabilities. I'm saying that their calendar is super full. So when it's bite-sized, you go, hey, I understand this, okay, let's go. And then you can take the next step. And this is where we are at. We need to take the next step to understand, how do we use data? What is the business problem that we have that we can manage by using data, by using machine learning, by using algorithms? And that is actually what Risto Siilasmaa says. You need to understand the basics. No one is expecting that you tell your boss, hey, I'm really intrigued about this machine learning. I'm going to now to Tampere University and I'm taking a 2-year degree on it. And they go like, have fun, you're out. No, but the thing is, it has to be modular. Like, we just had a discussion having coffee there on looking the elements of AI course. It's a free open online course. by University of Helsinki and Reaktor. It's also coming out in the near future in Finnish. Because, I mean, this is difficult stuff. And I'm really happy that it comes out in Finnish. But we already have more than 100,000 people who have signed up for the course. So it's doing great. But take the next step. And if my first tip of the day was, you know, do you have a single source of truth? Here's my second. I'm warmly recommending you to take 10 hours, either hour, half an hour, 2 hour chunks to your calendar before Christmas to make sure that you have the time. Because if this is maybe there, it's never going to happen. Take the time. Excuse me. What are the basics? This is a smoothie. If you want to, I want to have something sweet, you know, nice. If there's an algorithm for a smoothie, it's just the way you're going to do the smoothie. You have the ingredients. You have blender, 30 seconds. It's nothing more than this. It's precisely written recipe to get something done. That's an algorithm. And this has no intelligence whatsoever. This is just to do these steps and you will have a smoothie. Of course, depending on how familiar the person is using a blender, or if he comes or she comes from an island that is secluded, this person might not have a view on what is 30 seconds, so on and so forth, but you get the picture. If you have a shared common ground, you'll figure out how to do a smoothie. That's an algorithm. Why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about stuff that if you're a manager, why should you know? Because if you don't know, you cannot tell anyone to do it. This is an advertisement from 1912 for bulletproof vests. They were shooting each other. You can't trust our product. No one is expecting you to go out and do algorithms. First of all, if you want to hire someone to do algorithms, it's as smart as saying, hey, I need to go to Turku today. Maybe I should build my own car. Don't do it. You're not hiring the right people. Let's not go there. Point is, you need to know. And the reason is that, let's say I'm the e-commerce manager. We already know that this client is signed up. We know that this person is looking jeans for $120. And now we assume that the margins are all the same. And now, you're my boss now, okay? Great. You're in the first scenario, Antti, bring me as many euros or dollars this quarter as possible. It's easy. I can count, no worries. And now we have some basic recommendations. These were $120, and we have two here that are $190. You gave me orders, I go, buy, better, buy. I'm pushing hard. It might work, it might not, but the only tool I need is Excel min-max function. Biggest number, push. Easy. However, now you give me, Antti, maximize the lifetime value from this customer. Now I need my machine learning team. What data do we have? We have made the return process so easy that this person has actually told us that he returned 2 pairs of jeans because they were too tight at a certain part here. So we know that these jeans that are 10% cheaper actually would be based on a prediction. It's a cheaper price of estimate. We say these jeans would be the best for this customer. Now I need my machine learning team. Now I need this, but I also need this to be in my metrics, in my KPIs. Because if I'm here, and I just bought a house in Espoo, and I still have 382,000 of mortgage, and I have 2 kids who have hobbies. If my metrics are bring me the most money this quarter, and we don't have any budget, it's not in the strategy to have machine learning projects there, I'm not going to do it. This has to be up and down thing. What I mean is up, strategy, metrics, KPIs. I had a great question at this point when I was at Mothers in Business organization. What are good KPIs? I don't know. Where are you at? If you're not doing anything, maybe it's just a number. Let's have 3 machine learning experiments going by the end of this year. Could be. I don't know where you are. But the bottom part is you need to have UI, user interface, for the people who are actually doing this with clients. It's a dump of data is not something that is usable. People are working their full day. If they don't have a UI that they can ask questions from the data that we have, they cannot utilize it. It's up and down. If I tell you that by the end of this year, every police car in Finland will have artificial intelligence. Maybe? Well, they have. The point is, there's a camera that recognizes license plates, recognizes what numbers, letters there are, and does a local query. And if there's anything wrong, not the state license, the taxes haven't been paid, the person who owns the car is a person of interest. The first UI had only one signal for anything. It said Trafi, the traffic management in Finland. And I discussed with a couple of police officers, and they said when they went to certain parts of Helsinki, it sounded like Trafi, 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 Trafi. Not very useful. The next version was that if it's a new car, but they're missing their state license for a week, it goes blim. State license and taxes unpaid, blum. Or if the person who is owner of the car is a person of interest, it says blum, blum, blum. My point is here. It is assisting intelligence. It is helping the police officer to do what they're supposed to do. But what it is not doing, it does not take over the car and start autonomous chase, lights blinking. That's not what machines are doing. They are taking tasks that humans are not really good, or we might be biased. We might have a cop who says, oh, there's a guy driving a 1992 Nissan, worth $400, must be criminal. Other one, oh, there's a Porsche, must be criminal. Our camera doesn't care. If it sees a license plate, it reads it, it gives the information. Artificial intelligence is assisting. I want to give you another example. This is a game of Go, and we have heard a lot about it, but it is important. Why? Because this was the reason when China realized that we need to go forward on AI. 19 by 19 game, blacks, whites, whoever has conquered more of the space is the winner. Sounds easy. However, the possible gameplay scenarios, the amount of possible gameplays is more than the atoms in the known universe. Coming from business, I have no clue how many zeros that has, but it's a lot. My point is, chess was won by brute force. You just take a man of a machine, boom, and you win. But here, you cannot win. Like the best machines 5 years ago were able to win teenagers in game of Go. They were bad. Until Google DeepMind, the people with the data center, they wanted to look into this. And they created AlphaGo, and they won European champion, Fan Hui. Then they gave a call to World Go headquarters, which is think of Jedi Knights. They're very senior members of the society. And hey, we want to play a 5-game tournament against the best player. You will lose. Yeah, but can we still play? And they went, there's not a computer, not a machine that will win one of our champions in 10 years. They were persistent. Can we play? Sure. Come, AlphaGo meets Lee Sedol. To give you a picture about Lee Sedol, he was born on a small island off of coast of South Korea. The main business, the main living on that island is drying sea salt. So it's not a busy capital. So little Lee was really good at playing Go. And he was actually that good that at age of 8, he was invited to join the academy by Master Kwan. At age of 8, he started playing 12 hours a day, 7 days a week against better opponents. In Finland, you would end up to child custody services. In South Korea, he became a world champion at a very young age. There's a great film about this. It's called AlphaGo Movie. And we're going to watch a trailer now. But when I showed this trailer at home, I showed it to my wife and I said, honey, what do you think? And my wife seldom laughs to my face. I might be doing that when I'm not around. But when I showed this trailer, she went like, honey, you do understand that that is a thriller for nerds. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. Let's have a look.
Go is the world's oldest continuously played board game. It is one of the simplest and also most abstract.
Beating a professional player at Go is a long-standing challenge of artificial intelligence.
Everything we've ever tried in AI just falls over when you try the game of Go.
The number of possible configurations of the board is more than the number of atoms in the universe.
AlphaGo found a way to learn how to play Go.
So far, AlphaGo has beaten every challenge we've given it, but we won't know its true strength until we play somebody who is at the top of the world, like Lee Sedol.
A match like no other is about to get underway in South Korea.
Lee Sedol is to Go what Roger Federer is to tennis.
Just the very thought of a machine playing a human is inherently intriguing.
The place is a madhouse.
Welcome to the DeepMind Challenge.
The whole world is watching.
Can Lee Sedol find AlphaGo's weakness? Ooh. Whoa. Is there, in fact, a weakness?
The game kind of turned on its axis.
Well, look at his face.
That is not a confident face.
It's developing into a very, very dangerous fight.
Ooh, hold the phone. Lee has left the room.
In the end, it is about pride.
I think there's something went wrong.
Yeah, it's made a mistake.
He's got to pronounce America.
These ideas that are driving AlphaGo are going to drive our future.
This is it, folks.
The 5-game tournament ended 4-1 to the machine. Lee Sedol became the first champion to lose to a machine. It is said that game of Go requires intuition from human players. Like they say, instead of saying this was a reasonable move because of, they just go, it's beautiful. I think we can safely say that no machine today has intuition, but it is able to fake intuition well enough to win even the best people. Why this example is despised by some people? Some people say to me, Antti, don't talk about it, because it is so far off that it is like Harry Potter stuff. It is. Until this, it was supervised learning. We gave a lot of data, 30 million gameplays from 160,000 games. The AlphaGo played as much as it would take human to play in 3,000 years. So it wasn't that intelligence, it was just doing its job. But the point is, it learned from what had been. Until Google DeepMind, and now we're going seriously to the Harry Potter area, they went to unsupervised learning, which is not the thing that any of us are going to be making money in the next years. But what they did, they gave the Go rules, and they said, this is what we're heading for. Do what you can. In just mere days, it won AlphaGo Lee Sedol. It went to win AlphaGo Master, that was the next version. And in 40 days, it became the best Go player in the world, period. At this point, many people ask, well, is this just DeepMind propaganda? Is this just, AI this, AI that. And my answer is the single best scientific journal in the world, Nature, published the results. This is happening right now. But it is a good example of something that is happening here in the deep learning sphere. What is important for us? There are two important things, because all of this is artificial intelligence. All machine learning is artificial intelligence, but not all artificial intelligence is machine learning. My definition for artificial intelligence is, it is something done by a machine that, if done by a human, it would be intelligent. Mere automation is not enough. Machine learning, we give a lot of data, and the data understands these are the customer calls that you want to target. These are the customers you want to target. These are, I used to work for a technology company, and we did predictive maintenance. So somewhere in Malaysia, there's a harbor, and there's something of a truck lift that is taking different containers. And we know that for us, it's the best. We know there are 3 parts, A, B, and C. And we're able, with predictive maintenance, say to the owner of the harbor that November 15th is the least expensive day for you to replace the part number B. Maybe it is also a sales channel for us, because we know that if they need to stop the machine to change the B, it's their thing to pay for, we can also change part number C that we might need to want to change at some point. So, but we're talking about euros, dollars. The person who sees it is doing it. And we're living at the time of a perfect storm. Just yesterday, it was released that Varjo, Finnish maker of virtual reality glasses, got funding of 28 million euros. Virtual reality is something, together with augmented reality, that is closely tied to predictive maintenance. When you have a machine, and I have never, this is easy machine because this is cement. I'm familiar with this machine. But when you have more moving parts, if I'm semi-expert in doing service maintenance, when I put up goggles, I can see arrows what to do. And this is, like, many things are coming together right now. But it is this part, the machine learning, where your money is to be made in the next, I would say, 6 to 12 months already. The deep learning, that's really good if you want to do picture recognition. Let's say, like, I don't have any kids of my own, but I have a niece who's 3 years old, 3.5. And I want to tell this as a relative. When I show this picture to her, 100% of times she realizes it's a puppy, it's a broom. You're not impressed? Oh, you're saying that because you are in such point in your work life that for you it is very easy to say it's a puppy, it's a broom. I dare you. Boom. Which one is a dog? Which one is a broom? It was easy. Okay? Round robin is gone. Let's take the next one. Chihuahua or a blueberry muffin? Which one? Which one? Which one? My point is here, if we want to teach the machine to do X, we need to give a lot of examples to it so that the machine knows. If we want to understand it's a dog, we need to give a corgi, a Labrador retriever, something really big, but also that they're old, they're young, they're in the sunlight, they're in the shades, so that, okay, machine understands this is a dog. But when we had a look of the companies that you represent, there weren't too many that were in the business critical area of taking aside a donut and a dog. So let's not go there. But my point is here, working together, please don't buy that machines are here to take our jobs. Well, I think there are quite a few jobs that machines should take, but it doesn't look like it yet. My point is here. We're looking at breast cancer samples here. Artificial intelligence recognized 92.5%. boom, human, a trained physician, probably, what would that be? 15 years at least, almost 20 years of studying from preschool to med school to become radiologists so that you understand. And as we see here, 92.5 artificial intelligence, 96.6 human, but human and artificial intelligence together, 99.5. My question to you is, if we have a person who goes there for diagnosis of cancer, and with smart usage of human-machine cooperation, we're able to get earlier more of those cancers earlier on. We can start the treatments earlier. These people are able to go back to their lives earlier. There's less suffering. Wouldn't this be something worth of looking at? The good thing is the tools are already here. If each and every person in the world who are developing artificial intelligence, if they would become baristas today, and there's nothing wrong with being barista, it's a great thing, but you get where I'm going. They stop doing artificial intelligence tools today. And I've asked many people in the Finnish realm that, what would you say, 20% of what exists today is being used by companies? And I ask this from people with PhD, people who are doing it with businesses, and they either say, roughly yeah, or they say, Antti, you're a helpless optimist, we're at 5%. My message here is, we don't need to wait anything to happen. The tools are already here. You have data, you have business. I call them problems. I know people call them challenges. I don't, I call them problems. You want something to happen, you have a bottleneck, and you have data. Start with the business. What do you want to get done? What data do you have, and what can you do? And this is just a short glimpse of what I learned writing the book. My question to you is, what is the data that you can use to reach better customers, to do better decisions, and what are you going to do? My name is Antti Merilehto. Thank you so much.